What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and I'm really excited because tonight we are featuring my absolute favorite festival. You know, during these times of transformation, there's an interesting story that I want to share briefly. For 30 years, the festival that we all loved was the Health and Harmony Festival, which was founded by Deborah Giusti, co-founder of Global Peace Tribe. And it was always the second weekend of June. And that was where so many of us always gathered every year. And it was kind of the kickoff of summer. And then due to several factors, Health and Harmony, after 32 years actually, had to close down. And there was such a gaping hole as, oh God. Well, nature abhors a vacuum, they say. And that vacuum was filled by what is my favorite festival of the year. And that's the SoulPlay Festival. Every year for the past few years, we've highlighted it on the Awakening World. And so tonight we're going to meet the people who are at the core of SoulPlay, including some of their leading presenters. And one of their favorite musical artists, Mystical Joyride, is back. They are, of course, a Global Peace Tribe favorite, but they also play at SoulPlay. So we're going to move forward with all of that in a moment, but we always like to start our show with our beloved House Musical Artist Omashar. So take it away, brother.
I indeed will, and welcome everybody. I'm very excited for tonight because I know SoulPlay is awesome, and just the feeling that comes from it is something that tingles down my spine. And so I'd like to welcome everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube and our streaming partners, all the hundreds of thousands of you which are beaming in right now. And I'm going to sing a song, it's a dancey song called Out of the Blue. And it's about our ancestors. Did they disappear into the blue, or are they with us now in our hearts? And we know which one that is. So without further ado, here we go. Whatever happened to the ones that came before? Did they just vanish into the blue? Maybe they're living the dream we know to be true, and reaching their hands back out of the blue. Heart is so ready to embrace all that's new. I feel the love calling for me to break on through. on my mind, I know that I'm coming to a new way of life that feels so true. There's nothing here to hold me back from you. The clouds of my life have blown away. My lightness of being lifts me every day. I find myself feeling not so blue. My heart is so ready to embrace all that's new. I feel the love calling for me to break on through. With peace on my mind, I know that I'm coming to a new way of life that feels so true.
All right. Removing all the spotlights. Here we go to gallery view. Hello, everybody. Let's give a big twinkle to Omashar
It's me.
for a rocking and rolling song to get us off to a beautiful start.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, I love that song. I love that background of you. That's the
I
AI.
do. I'm trying to work out how I've got all zoomed up, but this is, of course, the tour at Glastonbury with my brother on the keyboard behind me and some lovely fake lighting in there, which is always great.
And my understanding, that was AI's impression of you.
Well, it was, yeah. We asked for the impression of. Hang on a minute, I'm going crazy here. Let me get straight. Oh, phew.
There we go.
It was. We went into the paid Chat GPT, and they brought up and a guy with long hair, beard, standing at the tour at Glastonbury, playing his keyboard with his heart wide open, and they came up with that image, which is pretty amazing. And then I just put on top of it I put it into iMovie, and then where has it gone? Somewhere here. It's amazing what we can do these days. And just put on top of it this thing. I just superimposed this on the back of it. And I came up with an amazing, it's so amazing. I can just do it sitting here at home. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And Omashar, of course, will be back at the end of the show and throughout the show. All right. So I get to introduce the two beings who, I started to say women, but then I want to be gender appropriate. So the two amazing beings who are at the core of this wonderful festival. I was blessed to be at the very first SoulPlay Festival. In fact, the very first event that ever happened, I facilitated at the very first event of the first festival. Anyway, point being, I've watched SoulPlay grow and grow and grow, and it's an amazing, it's way more than a festival, it's a community. And you're going to really get a chance to experience that as we get to meet Holly Burlet, who I am now adding, and Misha. Both of you, I have so much respect for both of you. I've known you and have watched the evolution, and there's a lot more evolution that's taken place. So I would love for each of you to share a little bit about your history with SoulPlay, how you came in, and how you've watched the baby grow. And I guess the baby now is a teenager.
It's true. It's true. Thank you, Scott, for those kind words. Yeah, my name's Holly. I have been with SoulPlay. I remember Scott from the very beginning. Um, yeah, it was lovely. It's lovely to have you along this ride with us. Um, I started off with SoulPlay during its inception 10 years ago. It was my second official festival that I helped to produce, and I've just been growing with it ever since. We kind of set up our programs to support growth with our participants, but of course, as producers and humans ourselves, we also grow through the journey. And for the first 9 years, I produced it with Romy Ilan. And just last year, Romy stepped down and made space for the wonderful Misha Bonaventura to join us.
Thanks, Holly. Yeah, it's been amazing to uh just step into this role with you and see how how we can co-create soul play together and vision into the future of what it might be like.
I'm going to come in and acknowledge a couple things that I've observed. First of all, Holly is amazing at attracting great presenters and really keeping the vibration very high. And then speaking of keeping the vibration high, I don't remember what the exact title was, but for many years, Misha was at the central core of making sure that when issues came up, people would have a chance to express themselves, but in a compassionate way and to feel felt and heard. And I know that there were, at least as I was around, multiple times where, while other people were off enjoying the festival, Misha was in her tent or in her, yurt, really helping people sort out the stuff that comes up at a festival like this. And one thing about SoulPlay is that it is a completely sober festival. It's not drugs or alcohol fueled. It's consciousness fueled. It's relationship fueled. Many of the presenters are leaders in the field of relationship and consciousness. So I really appreciate how both of you have been at the core of creating that and maintaining it. And I'd just love for you to kind of catch us up on where the teenager is now, and what maybe this year's festival is going to be focusing on, if there's a theme or some of the presenters you're especially excited about.
Yeah, I would love to say something. You expressed a good point that Misha has been a part of the festival for a while. So some people are wondering, with it changing hands, if it's going to change much. But Misha has believed in what we have been doing from the start and has been a core in creating our consent culture, which I think is part of what makes us stand out. So yeah, excited to be continuing that with her. Anything you want to say, Misha?
Yeah, maybe we should just back up a little bit, because maybe there's a bunch of people that don't actually know what soul play is, or what we're about. Let's maybe introduce us. So so soul play, Romy and Holly started soul play 9 years ago. This is going to be our 10th year, and we're going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary this coming June. Yes. And and I think the original vision, and it continues to be this vision, is that we want everybody who steps into the soul play space to be able to be fully expressed, be their full alive selves, their soul, allow their souls to play. And so we are really carrying that on, and also just honing and forming, continuing to mold this space. A few years ago, after, during, there were just some events that really highlighted that I really think Holly was one of the leaders in this realm of seeing, like, hey, we're a conscious festival, and part of that being conscious festival is to make sure that our that we're being inclusive of all people that want to be part of our festival. And so how could we do that? How could we do better in that realm? And so one of the tenets of SoulPlay is to create a lot of space for inclusion and belonging. And part of that is the consent work that's been done. So that's part of why I was brought in to lead soul support. And I was the consent and accountability director, the first one, and I developed the soul support team. And then the other thing that happened was the inclusion and belonging team. And Holly, do you want to introduce the like your evolution around that and like how you created that?
Yeah, I'll share a bit of that. It was really brought to my attention how white and heteronormative our group was, and that if one of our values is inclusivity, how is this happening? So we went on a journey as an organization and started doing our work behind the scenes and weaving more and more into the program um, the beliefs underneath this inclusivity. And you know, even expanding on that, it's not just about sex and gender and race. It's also about feelings, like being inclusive of all the feelings. Um, Soul Play is not a festival where you have to be happy and joyful all the time, even though there's a lot of that. We bring in the whole range of emotions and rage and anger and grief because that is a part of the journey and we can't be full humans without it. Um, so that's just another angle on the inclusion piece. But what else, Misha?
Well, we can take
Yeah.
people to
So
the website. Let's do
Yeah.
that. So the website, it's simple. It's soulplay.co. Make sure it's .co, not .com. And tickets are on sale now. And again, specifics, it's June 12th to the 15th. It's always the second weekend of June. And it's up in Cobb. Cobb is in Lake County. It's about half an hour from Harbin Hot Springs. Many of you probably know Harbin. And it's at a great place. I love I lived in Lake County up until 3 years ago. And Mandala Springs, where they do it, is great. They've got a swimming pool, which is nice in June. And there's lots of ways you can come there. You can stay there. And there's a lot of different levels to play at. And it really is very much about connection, as you can see from those happy faces of people dancing.
Yeah, the venue is really amazing. It's surrounded by this lovely flowing creek. And while it is mostly a camping venue, it's probably about 80 or 85% camping. We are releasing more of those lovely accommodations next week. We like to save some for those people. Not everyone knows about Soul Play, so we wanted to wait to get the word out and entice people with some nice accommodations. So those will be released next week.
Well, you know, one of the things that's wonderful about Soul Play is the people that are presenters, and we've got two of them with us tonight. And would you like to introduce Daway?
Yeah, I would love to. Daway is one of our new presenters. Every year we have a combination of new and returning presenters. You know, we want the returning presenters to help us hold the culture and the container, and we want the new presenters to keep on keeping us alive with new content and information. And I was so excited when Daway found us, I guess. And what he introduces, the two workshops he's offering at Soul Play this year is Rage Club. And it's one of those workshops where we do get to talk about and bring in this feeling that is often stifled. And also the other one, which I also fell in love with, is the Night of Myth and Legends. And it's about storytelling and archetypes and the stories we pass down. But I'm sure Daway could explain it better than me. Thanks for being here, Daway.
Thanks so much, Holly, and thanks, Scott. Yeah, I'm really excited to be joining the Soul Play community, and I'm just so passionate about all feelings, all human feelings. I think you said something like this, Holly, of really to be whole humans means letting the grief in, letting the anger be there, and just looking around the world, looking at what's happening. There's actually quite a lot to be angry about, and I feel really sad when people try to deny this force because it's unenlightened or unproductive, because it's violent, because it's destructive. And anger can be those things, definitely, if it's used improperly. And the purpose of Rage Club is really to provide as safe a space as possible without any shame or without any judgment for what's really happening in somebody's heart, and for them to be able to feel and express in often unpretty, kind of immature ways sometimes is how people's anger comes out because we don't have any practice. We don't have spaces where it's okay to really say the things that are on our hearts. And it's also about learning to change our body's physiology. So I used to work before I got into the world of transformational work and working with people directly. I used to work as an empathy and emotions researcher, and we'd always be looking at studies of how do people's bodies physiologically react to stress and to anger and things like that. And people in most of the world are so cut off from believing that anger is okay that their bodies become physiologically dissociated or numbed out. And so when the time comes to actually have a boundary, a friend does something or a partner does something that somebody's a no to, they're almost voiceless. They've lost this ability, and people end up as people pleasers or doormats. And so Rage Club is really about blowing the doors wide open to that. And hey, we don't want you shouting at your partner, but we do want you letting that up here in this specific space so that you can feel, wow, this is the actual level that I'm not okay with what's happening in my relationship, or I'm not okay with what's happening in the world. I'm not okay with what's happening with the pillaging of the planet. And when that aliveness comes out, that's what I think is really the fuel for taking a stand for more love to happen, or for better relating, or for actually stewarding the planet. It does require that anger a little bit.
Daway,
Love it.
I could totally geek out talking about this with you. I make my living as a relationship coach, and so much of the work that I love to do is helping people how to manage their anger in a way so that we can understand them. Because, of course, anger is a natural human emotion.
Hmm.
It so often gets repressed, or it becomes a cover emotion for all the other emotions that people are afraid to have. So, not now, but someday I would love to, chat with you because I'm really appreciating, what I'm hearing you sharing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, always available to chat about anger and
We'll
and
geek,
feel it.
we'll geek out on it. Now, Holly mentioned that you're also doing something mythical, I heard. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's called a Night of Myths and Legends, and it's essentially, well, oral storytelling is the oldest art form that humans have. And it's uh, the oldest stories might be something like 50,000 years old. Some people actually think 100,000 years old. And I can go into that in a little more detail if you really want the evidence for that. I didn't believe it myself at first. But basically, the stories our ancestors told each other had to survive for not just hundreds of years, but thousands of years. And they survived because the ones that really landed in the soul are the ones that people cared enough to memorize and then pass down. And so, what that means is we've gotten this great filtering of myths and legends that really have wisdom that's been applicable to all sorts of dimensions of the human condition, and the things that you and I are working through and wondering, things like, what's the purpose of life? What is love? How do I be a better person? And so we've gotten just an excellent inheritance from generations and generations of ancestors. And so in A Night of Myths and Legends, I tell one of these legends, and I usually try to do something that's connected to the actual oral traditions of whatever land it is I'm on as a way of honoring those people. And together as a group, we mine that story for wisdom. And the great thing is everybody hears a different story. I will literally, sometimes I record them and people will have arguments and they'll say, no, he said this, he used that word. No, this person meant to do that. And this is really what I love because there's no answer. As the storyteller, I'm not here to give anybody the answer to what their dilemma is. And the answer that people get is what has resonated most for them. And so it has a way of shining light on, if somebody feels frustrated at how a story ends, it means there's something that they care about in the choices the characters made, or they might see themselves in a story in a certain way. And that's how I fell in love with mythic storytelling. I was on a vision quest in the woods of Vermont, and I was considering, switching careers, considering getting out of a relationship. And I couldn't help but see my dilemma in one of these characters. And I was just hating all of the decisions this character was making. My stomach was twisting in knots, and I really didn't want to see it. And it was really undeniable, just the way that this story could show me what I was doing. And so I've just found it to be a really powerful mode of getting out of my own head and being able to make new, more empowering decisions in my own life.
Daway, you have a fascinating bio. And I've got to ask you, you call yourself a liquid state engineer. I don't think I've ever heard those three words put together before. Please tell us what that is.
Yeah, liquid state is, I guess some people call it the sensation of groundlessness,
Hmm.
when existing stories about the world kind of fall apart and you don't have anything solid to stand upon. And I call it liquid state. Sometimes it means that there are tears happening. It doesn't always mean, but it just means that the rigidity of my world is all of a sudden melted down, and I can recast that. I can flow in different directions and recast that into a different shape. And engineers, I guess a little bit of paying tribute to my past. I used to be an empathy researcher, an engineer. I used to be extremely scientific, academic, and I really love to bring my analytical thinking and my ability to consider different perspectives to clients that I work with and myself for finding, what are the threads people find themselves in sticky situations where it seems like, oh, I'm really stuck in this dilemma. And often there's a little place that I can poke or a little thread that I can pull that will make that rigidity fall apart. And then we can be in the free fall of just navigating life, following our souls and our hearts. So that's what that means.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like if somebody's going through cognitive dissonance, you come in and help them to reframe it and work with it.
Yeah, cognitive dissonance is what I would call rigidity. It means, there's two forces that are kind of pressing equally hard on each other. And it's like, I want to do this, but for whatever reason I can't. And I also believe that. And so, yeah, usually what I do is I take people into feeling spaces where they can really feel. And that's often what's happening is the mind believes I have to do X, and the heart, the feelings body wants to do something else. And our culture has biased the deck immensely in favor of the mind. And not that there's anything bad about the mind, but people usually come to me because they sense that there's something else that they're wanting. And so I create a space where they're empowered and where there's really not any shame or judgment about what the heart wants to say. And then when we level the playing field and we have the two voices speaking equally, then a real decision gets to be made.
Yeah. Well, there's a question that came into the chat box for you. Um, and the question is, where is it? It was from Omashar, and now there's so many chat going on, I'm having trouble finding
It was
it.
about how, are there any tips that you have for when somebody comes into your space and perhaps disses you or character assassinates you or whatever, and you just go into freeze? And I'll speak personally, I just go into, have in the past just gone into freeze. And it's so been so sideswiped that I just go numb. There's nothing. There's nothing in my brain working until that situation has gone away, and then maybe a day or two or three later, I go, what the heck? Why didn't I just at least state where I am? And so that this has been a thread through my whole life. And I used to blame it on being British and stiff upper lip and all that. But however, it's a character trait which it doesn't serve me anymore. And so
Hmm.
the thought is, are there any tips, or is there something that you can do in the moment when somebody comes up to you and disses you in some way or other? And for me, my mind just freezes, and my heart and my gut might clutch, but I have nothing to say, but I really should. And then more often than not, I'll just let it go away. And then 5 years has gone, and I go, well, what's the point now? Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I could speak for quite a bit on this. The thing that's really benefited me is making sure that I'm centered, really like in my own sense of presence, uh, nearly all the time. When I'm really centered, I can realize I don't want to take in whatever energy is coming my way. And so it's possible to train yourself to be faster than the energetic hook that somebody just threw at you in a way. And so for many years, I was practicing, I was setting alarms at different times of the day where I would just check like how centered, how grounded am I? And then I would also did a practice where every door frame I walked under, I started associating that with just checking, am I resourced, am I present, am I centered, until it became almost habitual. And but another really fun tool I can give you is you have what's called I have a little cloth. It's actually supposed to be red, but I just have my eyeglass cloth here and it's black. And there's, matadors with these bulls. They'll have the little red cloth and they'll let the bull attack the cloth. And so often when somebody's insulting us or dissing us, we think we have to jump in front of it and take it all in. And so I really encourage you to try this. Just in your pocket, pull out that like imaginary red cloth and you just sort of step to the side as somebody's doing that because you can tell when somebody doesn't have something good or kind or supportive to say, and you just kind of dangle your red cloth there and you step aside and you actually let the energy pass right through you and you don't have
it
to take.
sounds like an Aikido move.
Yes, it's totally like you just let it go.
And so, thank you. There are two tips right there, because I realize I can't necessarily go into the past and reclaim that, but I can do the door frame and the timers and everything. How
Well,
centered am I in this moment?
this is where this is where I can talk for all. You can go in the past. So call a friend and just say, look, this guy John from 5 years ago dissed me. I need you to energetically role play John. And so basically you can just say like, John, I feel angry because, and you let yourself actually be as angry as you would have been in the moment. And all your friend has to do is repeat back what you've said. And you'll find that you keep going down layers and layers if they really just repeat back what you say and you'll be like, yeah, and I'm angry because of this, and I'm angry because of this. And when you hear them repeating it back, it really can complete energetically. And when you let your body feel, that's where a lot of the residue lives. It gets
Yeah,
stuck in the
exactly. Thank
body.
you.
So
I'm getting this.
you have to let your body express the anger. And when the body can do that, all the body is trying to do with feelings is send information to your brain saying, I don't like this situation. And if you never acknowledge that, it's like the best servant to our lives. It's always trying to send that information. And so you have to let it up, you have to let it out, or it'll be stuck somewhere in your spine or in your gut or in your back and you'll be feeling it.
Thank you, Daway. I think I've got my answer. Thank you so much. I know we could go for hours because
Yeah.
I need to come to the Rage Club. Thank you.
Well, our wild monk of the Mystic Monastery, Jerry Anderson, loves the red cloth move. Susan Bloomquist writes, this is absolutely great advice. And Diara is, inspired by what you're saying and talking about getting more in touch with her anger as it arises to see if a boundary of hers has been violated. So I know you've got to go in a few moments, but is there anything you'd like to share about setting boundaries?
Yeah, I would say that people don't realize that when we're in a relationship with each other, we have to push against something. If somebody's always adaptive or if you're dissipating and you're basically like an energetic cloud or always following the other person, that's not so satisfying to the people around you. And so actually having the boundaries, actually allowing the anger to be there, being angry doesn't mean that you're going to attack somebody, but you can say, wow, I don't like what's happening. I hate what's happening. And that's wonderful. With my partner, if I'm saying, well, I want to have sushi tonight, and she says, well, I hate that. I really don't want sushi tonight. It makes it so much easier. It really makes it so much easier than if it's just, okay, well, I'm okay with that, and she's not actually okay with it. And then we just end up in that, stuck kind of dissipated middle ground. And so really experiment with having boundaries. And I found that even if the boundaries are stated inelegantly, the benefit that people gain in relationship is so much more. And people are dying to have that sort of clarity, and then they can make their own choice.
It's wonderful advice. Thank you. Well, I want to direct people to his website, and it's his name, Daway Chou Ren. That's DAWAYCHOUREN altogether.com. And that's where you can learn about things and learn how to work with him. Tell us a little bit about kind of your demographic groups. Who do you like to work with?
I like to work with people that really have problems that they've thought are unsolvable. So the way that I work is via what I call a bounty hunting system, which means rather than people pay me on an hourly rate for one-on-one client work, people say, well, I really want to be able to have boundaries. And, if we had a magic button that I could push and I would have strong, healthy boundaries, this is what that's worth for me in monetary terms. And so
Oh,
maybe that's like someone would say, I would pay $2,000. It doesn't matter what the number is, but if I could press a button, I would pay $2,000 for the rest of my life to have strong, healthy boundaries. And then people basically hire me as a bounty hunter to, collect that bounty. And then people only pay me when they decide that they've gotten it. And I usually like to have people pay me 3 months or 6 months afterwards so that they're actually really confident that the change that we've created has stuck around. And I really love this because sometimes I've had sessions where I can have something click for a person, and in 30 minutes, we're done. And that's where an hourly rate doesn't really make sense. And then at the same time, I find that um, it's really just a lot more fun because I'm not incentivized in this really subtle way to keep somebody on as a wounded client. That's the other drawback of an hourly rate. So it's very clean. When you feel that your life has changed, then you pay me what you feel this change has been worth. So I do all sorts of things, and I have the most success with people that have been to therapy for many years, and whatever it is that they're working on just hasn't been able to happen. And I usually work by giving people homework assignments. So having them go out in the world, if you're working on boundaries, it's, get 7 no's before we talk again. Start talking to people, give 7 no's, get 7 no's. And then I can also be the container for whatever emotional response people have out of going into that liquid state. This is where liquid state comes in. Somebody who can't say no if they are told to get 7 no's or give 7 no's, that is really shaking to the worldview. And I can be that safe place where they can kind of catch their breath and then submerge themselves in the deep end again.
no way. You're fascinating. I want to give you a call and chat with you sometime. I'm going to bring Holly back up. Holly, this guy's amazing. He's awesome.
I know, right?
Even my dog
I
is
agree.
excited about Daway. She just jumped in.
Yeah. Hi, pups.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, so Daway is the best way to reach you through your website?
Yeah, or email, which is, dawaychowren@gmail.com.
Okay.
Same spelling as my website.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very, very much. And it's great to meet you. And I definitely would love to have a chat with you and hopefully see you at SoulPlay.
You will see me at SoulPlay. Yes, look out for you. Thanks so much, Scott.
All
Thanks,
right.
Holly.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Well, Holly, I want to share the next experience with you because we both love Mystical Joyride. And so I will let you do the big introduction. I just want to say that this is one of my favorite duos. Every time I've seen them at SoulPlay, and of course they've been on our show, I think 4 or 5 times now. They're just a great couple. So
Yeah.
that's what I have to say, and I'll let you take over from there.
Yeah, I will never forget. When you listen to things online, it's not the same as listening to it live. So I'm not sure if Mystical Joyride came to us or we came to them. I'm not sure how it started. But, I listened to their sound online and I'm like, okay, this could be good, but it's hard to tell what it's going to be like live. And they just blew us away. Seeing them in person live, the energy is so great. So yes, they are some of our favorites, and we bring them back to our events as often as possible. And they're just the most amazing humans. So yeah, here's Mystical Joyride.
And now for something completely different.
Greetings, humans, creatures, aliens, and non-corporeal beings. Travel with us to another dimension. Open your hearts and your minds. Welcome to the Joyride. Let's get weird.
Weird.
Your colors are the most beautiful thing the world has ever known. Be yourself, but don't hurt nobody. Get crazy, don't foul up the party. Fuck around and get high on reality. All the possibilities don't really good. Let's get weird. Hey, let's get weird. Hey, let's get weird.
Who am I? What's my purpose? Am I perfect?
Fuck it, that's the surface. Don't be nervous. You deserve this, girl. I'm made of all the stars, and you should know that I am a phenomenon. I'm the dark and the light, the black and the white, the peace and the fight, and I think I'm doing all right. I dance inside the unknown, and all of a sudden I'm home.
Let's get weird.
Hey, let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird, SoulPlay. Let's get weird. There was no darkness, we'd never see the stars. It would be a shame not to be who we are. And get high on reality. All the possibilities go with infinity.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get weird.
Your colors are the most beautiful thing the world has ever.
Awakening World, SoulPlay. Let's get weird.
Don't stop.
I know we don't. I don't want to interrupt her, but let's do some twinkling. And that was. I think everybody's just kind of still stunned. Everybody's still in like frozen mode.
So
Wow.
you know, we didn't actually plan on playing that tonight, but then the way the conversations that were happening about the darkness and rage and all these other things, and that's also like, I feel like a kind of a soul play tenet. Let's get weird. Let's explore the edges, the darkness, the parts that feel, a little bit like I don't know. But there's a amazing meme I saw recently that it had said there's where you are, there's the idea, and in between that is cringe. So it's just like you have to experience sometimes some of those places, and that song kind of came from that place.
I love it. I love how playful you made weird. And it is a very soul play kind of thing, because at least my imagining of soul play, my experience, is that it's where people can be truly who they truly are. A safe place to be who we are, to take down the mask, take down the thing, and be real. It's what we heard Daway say about all emotions being welcome, if it's anger or even rage, and definitely being weird. Misha, I loved what you wrote in the chat box. I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah, I often describe myself as a full spectrum human, and I'm really loving bringing more and more full spectrum experiences at SoulPlay. So like the weird and the silly and the rage and the, we're not just, I don't think consciousness is just about being like, overly kind of like present or whatever. It's being present with all of the things of life, and like being able to be with all of it, and like the weird is so much part of it. Thank you, Mystic Joyride.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're amazing. You got us dancing. It's so good. Move our bodies.
That's what Mystical Joyride is all about. Our friends, the Galactivators, they're another group, and they have a term we love to use, which is sacred silliness.
Yeah, love that.
Like, that is good.
Play, soul play. That's the other thing. Soul play.
That's right.
Let's just soul play.
That is the tagline we've been pushing, or we really landed on, is we play with a purpose. Because everything feels weird at first when you try something new, but if you call it play, and you don't take it so seriously, and you're just trying these things on, that's the easiest way to grow.
I'll never forget the first time I was at SoulPlay. I definitely, it unlocked another a tile, like blocking the, let's say there's like, you have like tiles covering you, blocking the sun. It like removed one of those tiles for me. Like I could let more light in and like really be myself. And you take that into the world when you leave a festival, you bring that into the world. So it really is, it genuinely is authentically medicine. So thank you for what you do, Holly
Yeah.
and friends. Yeah.
I remember when I met you at SoulPlay, because you had been on the show online, but I hadn't met you in person. And then
Remember you and your little doggy.
she was just on my lap a minute ago. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Mystical Joyride is going to be back in about 30, 45 minutes for one more song. But now we get to meet one of the other amazing presenters. Oh, and I do want to let people know how to find you. My gosh, I got so excited. Their website is very easy to find. It's mysticaljoyride.com. And that's where you can learn all about the things that they provide. They've got some great availability, and you can see where they're playing. They're going to be in Joshua Tree. They're going to be at the Forest Festival in Santa Paula. They're going to be, of course, at SoulPlay.
SoulPlay.
They're going to be in North Carolina. You know, we've got a lot of people in North Carolina, actually.
It's at least on their website it says SoulPlay affiliated. Bliss Boogie is like the homies, right? No? Okay. Well, I would say that they are inspired.
Yeah, no, Bliss Boogie, yes, no, they are. They were inspired by us, and they've come to SoulPlay, and yeah, Bliss Boogie is our sister sister festival.
Right. Is that the one that Romy helped
Yeah. And yeah,
this is their second year.
Y'all are inspiring people.
Yeah,
our friend Kai went to SoulPlay and decided she needed to bring that to the East Coast too. So y'all might be able to franchise it out a little bit too.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I want to just acknowledge a lot of wonderful comments in the chat box from our audience, all about being weird, definitions of weird, and just again, thank you for making it safe for us to all acknowledge how weird we are. You know, my father, he was a wise man. And when I was about 16, he puts his arm around me and goes, son, as you grow older, you're going to discover that everyone in the world is crazy except for you and me. And frankly, as you're getting older, son, I'm beginning to wonder about you.
Waka waka.
So there it is. We all have our own forms of crazy, weird, and SoulPlay is a place where you can come and be that. So, nice. All right, we will see Mystical Joyride in a few minutes, but right now I would love for you to introduce Hema. I'm so glad that Hema's with us tonight.
Yeah, I would love to. Hema is another one of our favorite core presenter members, and we also pulled her onto the team this year. She's a holistic empowerment mentor that helps clients reach their full potential, and she also teaches about classical tantra and from her traditions and not the westernized neo tantra. So she is a great source to get that truth. And she is also, we pulled her on the team this year for our inclusion and belonging team. She is our incident lead. So she is the one who makes sure when anyone has a problem that we bring it to some kind of solution or completion. Or if you have trouble with me or Misha, the angels that we are, you could also go to Hema to get support. So thanks, Hema.
Thanks, Holly. I'm excited to be here, and thank you, Scott, also. It's really an honor. And I just want to point out, I've been on the team for a few years now for inclusion and belonging. So this is not the first year that I'm on there, but first year as the inclusion and belonging incident lead. And this is my, I think, 5th year. I was thinking about it earlier today, 5th year at SoulPlay. And I'm going to tell you, I am committed, heart and soul, no pun intended, to SoulPlay. My first time when I came as a participant, and I think it was during COVID or one of those pandemic years. They all kind of blend together, and I was hooked. it was the quality of care that the organizing team took for people like me, for participants, is particularly with respect to COVID and testing and all of that. And then just everything, the people that go there, the connections that I made, just listening to Mystical Joyride, I am imagining myself in front of the fire at night, like dancing to Mystical Joyride. It just takes you right there to the energy of SoulPlay. So to me, SoulPlay is, I put it in the chat, is like the best festival around. And there's just so many reasons why I love it so much. So I'm excited to be part of the team, have been on it for a few years. And it's just because I believe so much in what SoulPlay stands for, and particularly around the inclusion and belonging. So I'm going to share with you that the one moment where I got completely hooked on SoulPlay, I mean, apart from all the other great things I've just said, was when I found out that there was a BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous, people of color, BIPOC pool party. And that would be the first time in my life that I had been in a space where it wasn't, white majority or white controlled space. And it was an experience I'll never forget. It was also my birthday that year. Every year it kind of is my birthday at SoulPlay. But that year the SoulPlay fell on my birthday, and it was just life-changing for me, I would say. Really quite moving. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
What will you be presenting at SoulPlay this year?
Yeah, well, there's a variety of things that I'll be presenting this year, and I think Holly and I are still in some discussions around that, but I'm going to be leading what I call a heart connection ritual on Thursday evening. So after everybody arrives and you've set up your tents or found your cabin, people are craving connection. They want to get to know people. And in this day and age, particularly, we need to be connected to people. We need to feel a sense of belonging in person. And Zoom can only do so much. And so I lead, it's based on Neo-Tantra, but it's basically a circle where we get to really go deep with each other, and you get to meet a whole bunch of different people, really drop into your somatics and into your body. And that's where the deep connections come from. So once you let go of mind construct and whatever your mind is saying to you, and you really focus in on the person in front of you, then that's when the deep connections get made. And I think that's a good way to start the festival, because you already feel connected on the first night. And what happens over the next few days just helps to deepen those connections that were already made. So that's one of the things that I'll be leading. Another thing I'll be doing is kind of in an informal space. I've done it more formally in previous years, but I'll talk about what is Tantra. So that is one of my areas of expertise, I would say. So I am a spiritual teacher, and I like to do some myth busting, debunking what people think Tantra is and isn't, and really kind of opening their eyes as to the beauty of this spiritual discipline and what it means and how it can really change how you view the world.
I've got to come in for a second on that.
Yeah.
I always joke with people that Tantra is not California hot tub Tantra.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
That there's much more depth to it. And of course, there's so many different traditions that are connected, whether it's Cherokee fire breath, the Celtic tradition of Tantra. Of course, most people think of East Indian traditions.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about the tradition or traditions that are kind of in your wheelhouse and that you like to share.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. A lot of people, their introduction to Tantra has been through some sort of sacred sexuality, conscious intimacy, that kind of opening. And that's beautiful because, hey, sex is fun, let's admit it. And it's always great to learn about techniques that help us be better lovers. But there's more to it than that. Neo-Tantras talk about this a little bit. The difference with classical Tantra or any of the other Tantra traditions is that the end goal is really about enlightenment. It's really about non-attachment. And so there's different paths, different ways in which you can get to that. And the Tantra from the one that I study is actually a Kashmir Kashmiri Shaivism, which was originated in Kashmir, but it's come from the south of India that my family is from. And I've been raised in that tradition. And so I'm very familiar with all of the practices. And really, the practices are sublime. They're beautiful, and they really help you get into a centered space. So this conversation around rage we had before, I was going to put it in the chat, but if one does their spiritual practice and continues to do that as a discipline, there's nothing that can phase you. There's nothing that can put you off center, because you're so centered and grounded in yourself, and so centered and grounded in experiences that are bigger than you. So connecting with a higher power, as it were, that you can keep your center, you can keep your equanimity in all situations. And that's a tall order for a lot of folks. I mean, we are human after all, but it is achievable through consistent and regular practice. So that's the beauty of Tantra. And then there's a whole philosophy around non-dualism that talks about how we are all just connected through energy force. We are all just facets of the divine. So that, it's like a hand with different fingers. Scott, you just happen to be the thumb and I'm the index finger, but we all belong to the same hand. We all belong to the same one. So there's, some interesting ways to look at the world once you realize that we're intimately connected like that, as per the tantric tradition. So it kind of gets rid of, this good and bad notion that we get in Judeo-Christian religions, and it looks more at, well, what is in this moment? Can we accept what is in this moment? And then can we accept what is in the next moment and the next moment after that? So it's really sublime, and and like I say, blow your mind in terms of how you view things in the default world, and how we've been socialized to see things. In particular, getting rid of labels around good or bad. I try not to use those when I teach. Also, I've gotten rid of any references to male or female, because that's a societal construct. And in tantric traditions, it's all about energy. So I prefer to use terms like yin and yang. And especially if we look at the non-dual tradition, the fact that we're all connected, we can all have the wide spectrum of emotions and feelings, just like Misha said. So it's, people really have been very excited and interested about that. In previous years at SoulPlay, I've taught about energy work as well. So I did, for a couple of years, an energy play shop that people just loved. And it was about not only feeling someone else's energy, but understanding your own energy and being able to set boundaries energetically. So there's a fascinating exercise that I do in the play shop where people imagine where they want a physical boundary to be set. So it could be set 1 foot away from you, 2 feet, 3 feet away from you, and they're working with a partner. And so the partner tunes into their energy. And you know what? I would say, Scott, about like 8 out of 10 times, the other partner gets it right as to where the first person has put their energy boundary. So if we learn to do things like that at a more subtle level, at an energy level, that can also help us, with respect to consent, can help us protect ourselves in situations. It's just all fascinating stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to teach all of that.
I've been checking what's going on some of our Facebook pages, and there's actually a question asking if there's you talked about how wonderful it was for you to have the BIPOC. Is there anything for Latin people like that planned?
Well, I mean, I think the BIPOC pool party was inclusive of Latinx as well. So
Oh,
we had all, yeah, it was for Black, Brown, those who identify as ethnic, even if you present as white or mixed race. Yeah, it was for those, for very inclusive, for a wide spectrum of folks. So yeah, there were a lot of Latinx folks there.
okay, good. Well, that will make one of our Facebook users very happy. And I see in your bio, you call yourself a holistic empowerment mentor.
Yes.
I love all these very unique, creative expressions of who you each are. Tell us about that. What's that mean, and what's that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. At a very young age, I had what I realize now was an awakening experience. And after that experience, like I said, I was very young, all these gifts started dropping in. So psychic abilities, what one would call ESP, I guess, in older terminology, I have the ability to see what people's traumas are in their bodies, even if they don't know consciously themselves. So what I do is I actually heal people, or I work them on a path towards healing. And I don't use the word healer because that's, I think, a little presumptuous. The healing very much happens with the person. So I'm their mentor. I show them a path. I show them ways in which they can work on removing blockages in their body, removing blockages in their life, and helping with some spiritual practices so that people can stay more centered and present in their lives, and really just showing a path and a potential way of being that that can help raise people to like a higher version of themselves, a higher vibratory, higher resonance version of themselves. And that can be really powerful.
I mean, isn't that what we're here to do right now? That's why the show is called The Awakening World. I mean, this is it. It's
Yes.
all about raising our vibration. And,
Yes, exactly.
you know, especially, I'm not going to get political right now, but obviously a lot of people are very, very somewhere between concerned and scared, angry about what's going on in the world. And it is between the new administration, climate change, there's a lot going on. And really, as best as I can tell, and a lot of the people I respect the most who are on this show, or they all say the same thing. The best thing we can do is raise our vibration. The best thing we can do is keep playing music, keep dancing, be joyful, love more, raise our vibration. And that is the best remedy for the crazy reality TV show that's going on out there.
Absolutely. If I may comment, I think
Yeah.
the onus is upon us to find areas where we can find joy. And this is where a spiritual practice can really help, because it helps you tap more into the joy of the universal being and joy in your life. And joy is a form of resistance. So if you're worried about what's happening in the world around you, find the joy in your life and start vibrating with that. And that will spread like a pebble in water. The ripples will spread out. And so I think that's important. But there's a couple of other things I want to say, which is, we live in a time that is the safest time that we've ever had historically. And so people need to realize that, what they're seeing in the news may not be entirely indicative of what the state of the world is now. So there's things like that. Keep perspective.
That's a really good point. Absolutely. And I'd actually brought Misha and Holly up because I'd love to just kind of get your take also on, the idea of how blessed we are, maintaining, of course, empathy for people that are, suffering. And clearly there are a lot of people that are suffering. But like Hema pointed out, I mean, most of us have first world problems, and we still live in an incredibly free and abundant place. We're very blessed in that way. What are some of your thoughts about how SoulPlay counteracts or supports people through challenging times?
Yeah, I could try to speak, and I could just say, like, the weight of the world and issues I have felt like in a really dark place. And just showing up in this podcast and like exchanging with you all and remembering, like focusing on this positive thing and community, wow, it really helps. So that's basically what Soul Play is, like a place where we could come and uplift each other and support each other in doing those scary things. Maybe going to that workshop, maybe talking to this stranger who won't be a stranger for long. And so the community, having a supportive community, and also the safety nets that are all around. Safety is a big feature of Soul Play. We're asking people to do some really edgy, big things, and we want them to know that we're going to hold them and be with them through the process. And other people are doing it too. Other people are being brave also. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like to think of Soul Play as a place where we practice what we want in the world, and it can be it's like a little bubble of joy and creation and connection and experimenting. And then that is the thing that ripples out into the world, just like this show, just like all of any moment that we can be moving towards how we want our world to be, that is moving us in the right direction. And I do think SoulPlay is one of those places. And part of what we've been figuring out how to do is to take it from just a weekend long experience into a year long. How do we actually make this into, an all year long experience, or at least a place for people to drop into? And so we are going to become a hybrid virtual and in-person community, and that is happening this year. So every single person who gets a ticket gets to come into our private Mighty Network community and join us there. A lot of people are leaving Facebook and other big social media, and we are going to be a refuge place for people to come. No advertising, it's just us. We get to speak freely and have our playful selves in there. So we're looking forward to that.
Misha, that's great news. I belong to a couple of Mighty Network run organizations that are groups that have been on this show. And Holly, I'm glad that you're kind of getting uplifted. One of the things that's kind of fun is a lot of the shows we do now are promoting festivals or conferences or events. Because we're previewing it, we're always doing it before it happens. And often we're the first time that a lot of the core people are coming with their presenters, and they're catching the fire. It's like, oh yeah, we're all going to be together at SoulPlay, or we're all going to be together at the Illuminate Film Festival, which we were promoting last week. And so it's kind of cool because you remember, oh yeah, I love these people. These people are great. And you begin to catch that first taste of the delicious feast that awaits that second weekend of June. So, Hema, I want to get back to you for one moment because I want to let people know how they can work with you. And your website is hemaholisticmystic.com.
Yes.
HEMA holisticmystic.com. And this is where people can sign up to get your newsletter, learn about your upcoming events. Is there a particular demographic group that you really especially enjoy working with?
I work with folks that are feeling particularly stuck in their lives. If you feel like you're repeating the same pattern over and over again, you feel like you're dating the same person, not literally, but you've dated many people or you've been in a relationship with many people, but the same things keep coming up over and over again, or the same pattern repeats itself in your job, come and see me, because that pattern can be reprogrammed, and that pattern originates from something, stems from something, an original trauma that you may have had, typically when you're very young. And so, as I said, I have this gift where I'm able to read a person's body and know exactly what incident in your life caused that initial trauma. And we work to energetically, with energy work, remove that initial trauma and reprogram it so that you can live a completely different life. You can actually break through your pre-established patterns and create new ones in a very short period of time. So if people are interested in that and want to know how to be kind of the best version of themselves, I sell packages, typically 3 packages, 5, or 6 or 9, depending on how long you want to work. And you can book me on my website and get on my calendar. So I do initially an introduction call, try to talk to the person, see if we're a good fit, and see if what the challenges are that they're facing. And then I work a program. Every program is highly individualized because it depends on the specific person and where they are in their life and what they're dealing with. And then, like our other speaker, I also have homework. I call it soul work that I assign, and it's part of the process. to help start shifting patterns, mental patterns, energy patterns, physical patterns. And so the soul work in between sessions is really important. And people see pretty fast results with me within 3 to 5 sessions. They're finding that there have been major shifts in their life. So yeah, if you're interested in working with me, I'd be honored, and you can find all of that on my website.
Fantastic. I also give soul work out to people, so it's fun. Some of those commonalities. I'm bringing Holly and Misha on one last time for you. If there's anything else that the two of you would like to add, and this is where we're going to have time for just a few questions and answers. Then we're going to let them all go. Hear Mystic Joyride one more time. Have a few community announcements, then a final Omashar song. But Holly, Misha, Hema, anything you'd like to add, share, or even ask? And likewise, if anybody has questions, please pop them into the chat box right now.
One of the things I do want to say is, you heard me talk about the BIPOC pool party. I really love how inclusivity has been one of the main tenets for SoulPlay, like the fundamental building block. And I want to say that it's a safer space, braver space, and we're working on it. And so if you come in as a person of color, there's still going to be a lot of white folks, a lot of cis heteronormative folks, but that's changing. The dynamic is changing. The demographic has been changing, and it's exciting to see the evenness of it all and how that's been evolving. So come and make SoulPlay really like the world that we want to live in. That's how I see SoulPlay. It is a representation of the world that I want to be in.
Thanks, Hema. Yeah, we're getting a couple questions. So how many participants we have? We've had a range from 500 to 900 participants over the years. This year we are going for between 600 and 700. So yeah, that we're a small but mighty festival. And some people would be like, wow, that's big. Yeah, and thank you. Thanks for all your gratitude that we're seeing in the chat as well.
I think it's the perfect size festival. It really is, because it is intimate. And yet there's enough people there that you're going to find plenty of new people to connect with, new friends. But there really is an intimacy there. You don't feel overwhelmed. It is not Burning Man. It's, and again, I mentioned it, but there's something about a festival that's sober, that just is awesome, because there's a high. There's definitely a buzz and a high, but it's all co-created by the field of the participants, as opposed to, I find when drugs and alcohol are involved, people are in their own orbit. They're in their own realities. They're in their own bubbles. And SoulPlay, it's one big collective bubble. Yeah, that's actually...
Yeah. I like to speak to the sober aspects. One reason we hold the sober container is for safety. When you're going this deep in consent and edge work, you want to trust where each other are at. But what you were getting to, beyond that, what SoulPlay is, that experience, that magic that you feel in your body when you figure something out about yourself, or you overcome something that you didn't think you could face before. It ignites some sensation in your body, and we just don't want that to be covered up. We want you to feel that, because having a connection to that feeling is what you're going to take with you outside of the festival, and what is going to keep changing you for the rest of your life, coming back to that feeling of empowerment. I can do this.
Beautiful, beautiful. See what other
some things that I've been really looking at lately are how sobriety and attachment work intersects, and how much when we are when we have attachment wounds and that aren't getting our attachments aren't getting met, we start to seek outward needs. We start to seek getting our needs met in ways that either go for pleasure or for purpose. And when we can't find purpose, we go for pleasure. And if we can't get the pleasure, then we kind of do that in ways that can be harmful to us. And that's where addiction starts to come in. And so the more that you can go toward your meaning making, the less you will want to do addictive behaviors. And all of that is related to attachment work, and it's so deep and wild. And so, yeah, soul play is a place for like, whoa, okay, like how can I get those needs met? How can I move towards my creativity and meaning making in ways that actually fulfill me instead of ways in which, are kind of hollow or yeah, don't actually get our needs met.
Misha is a very, very talented coach herself. So I'm going to take a moment to take people to your website. And she has some offerings. I want to learn about them. Her website is her name, Misha, Misha, Bonaventura. Such a beautiful name. MishaBonaventura.com. Now, right off the bat, what is a rebel lover? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so for the past 10 years, I have been ushering people through experiences of connecting, hooking up, having sexy interactions through when, any festival, any party is a place where people want to connect. And when we're relating in that way, and especially when you're starting to open your relationships, or even if you're just wanting to date and you're not wanting to actually dive deep into a single relationship, being a rebel lover means that you want to love in the ways that will fulfill you right now. And it could be lots of different ways, but primarily what I'm teaching are best practices for being in open relating spaces. So if you have a partner and you're going into an open relating space, I have best practices for that. And then if you're a single person, what do you need to ask yourself? And how do you need to communicate to others to be able to date well?
Beautiful. That is so important. Absolutely. I could go on and on and on about relating and don't try it at home, kids.
And what about your clearing conversation work, Misha?
Yeah, so the other piece of work that I do is clearingconversations.com, which is nonviolent communication based, compassion communication based conflict resolution. I call it mediation, but some people get that confused with like legal work, which it is not. I really help people fall back in love with each other instead of trying to help them divorce or, get their tree, like neighbors that are in conflict about their tree. I'm really specialize in friendships, in co-parenting, in co-housing, and business partnerships, families, anyone who has had a deep, important relationship that has had a falling out or is starting to have a fallout. I am a wonderful resource, and the sooner you can get to me, the better.
So I'm noticing, and thank you, Holly, for popping into the chat box. There's a second website, clearingconversations.com. Clearingconversations.com. Is that completely you, or is that with other people as well?
Yep, that's just me. That's my conflict resolution coaching practice.
She does brilliant work, everybody. And I'm a snob about coaching because I'm a coach. And I can say Misha's wonderful. I know so many people that have really benefited from your work, Misha. Everybody speaks very highly of you. Absolutely. Hema, I think you had something else you wanted to share.
Yeah, I know that this whole conversation is about soul play, but I think I mentioned I'm heart and soul in. And one of the things I really want to highlight is that the care that the organizing team takes for participants, and that there is a whole team called Soul Support. And what they do is they offer you support as you're going through any feelings that you might have, or if something comes up, or you need to navigate through something. That's one of the things I think that makes Soul Play so special and unique. And there's also an inclusion and belonging team, of which I'm the incident lead, where you can talk about if you've experienced a microaggression, or if you've committed a microaggression and need some support around that. So there's a lot of places where you can plug in and get the support that you need, the connection that you're looking for, as you navigate through whatever emotions may come up for you in the soul play space. So I just wanted to say that this to me are, these are any number of things that make soul play super unique and why I'm in love with it. But this is, these are some of the really big ones in my mind. Thank you, Scott.
No, thank you, Hema. Holly, I know you turn into a pumpkin at 7:30.
Yeah, it's actually family dinner night tonight. So we usually start at 6:30, but they're pushing it to 7:30 so that I could still join them. So I'm going to go hop and sit at the dinner table with my household.
How wonderful. Well, thank you, Holly. It's great to see what you're doing. You've got a great crew here. And yeah, we'll wrap up early. We'll go to Mystical Joyride. And thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you second week of June up in Mandala Springs.
Thank you, Scott, and everyone. What a great community.
It really is. Lots of fun. All right. Well, we will wrap up the soul play part of it with that wonderful Mystical Joyride that bridges the gap. They're an online band. They're an in-person band. See them on the Awakening World and see them live at Soul Play. Here they are.
Yes, yes. We can rise, y'all, when we work together and we co-create the space just like Soul Play does. We can rise.
When you come up, then I come up. When I come up, then you come up. When you come up, then I come up. Yeah, we come up. Yeah, we come up. When you come up, then I come up. When I come up, then you come up. When you come up, then I come up. Yeah, we come up. We can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise. We all rise. We can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise. We all rise. All I do is win, win, win situations. If they don't exist, I create them. I cannot relate. When you wanna be on top, making someone else fall, I ain't fucking with oppression. There's enough to feed us all. Infinite abundance in the universe. Greed is just a function of the human curse. We break it when we make it, so nobody's to make it in the cold of pushing boulders for somebody else's greatness. Take it to the next wave, paradigm shift. Relax, just exist. Don't analyze this. Catalyze bliss. Magnetize everything you wish. Share the love freely, cause it's coming back quick. Magic happening, we tapping in. Dismantling the battleships and capturing the rapturous feeling of remembering the age of the lone wolf is ending. We are all connected. Time for ascension. When we lift up one another, we can rise. We all rise. We can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise. We all rise. Two queens can occupy the same space at the same time. That means we can all shine, shine. We gotta own our power. Stand tall, together, never cower. Build strength up like a cloud, hard like bricks, but gentle as a flower. I gotta heal myself so I can grow up to be a force for help in my community. Community together is much better than just you and me. So let's go, LA to Tokyo. Let's go. Everyone ascending, we can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise. We all rise. We can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise. We all rise. When you come up, then I come up. When I come up, then you come up. When you come up, then I come up. Yeah, we come up. Yeah, we come up. When you come up, then I come up. And when I come up, then you come up. When you come up, then I come up. Yeah, we come up. Yeah, we come up. When you come up, then I come up. When I come up, then you come up. When you come up. Yeah, we can rise, come up, eh, oh, we can rise, come up, eh, oh, we can rise, come up, we can rise, come up, we can rise, we can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise, we all rise, we can rise. When we lift up one another, we can rise, we all rise.
Rise up, rise up.
I'm rising up to the gallery view. Let's all give a beautiful twinkle.
Yay, thank you.
Wow.
Right back at you.
You
Twinkle,
guys
twinkle.
are so cool, so cool. When you're creating your songs, how much of it comes out of improvisation? Do you guys just get together and kind of play and the magic kind of unfolds, or?
I think it comes so many different ways. There's definitely ones that come out of improvisation. This one was, we made this song with our friend Anna Diorio. She actually raps the first verse on the record, but we had the beat. I had made the beat previously, and like we just were all jamming out together right here in the studio. This is actually the recording studio. Also, you can't see it; it's on the other side of the computer. But so yeah, we do that. But then like Let's Get Weird, I just had an idea. Oh, let's get weird. Hey, and then we made the beat around that song. So it always comes different ways, and sometimes Leah's wrote other songs on her guitar and brought it to the table, and then we turned that into a Mystical Joyride song. So I don't know, infinite possibilities. All kinds of stuff happens.
Well, what you guys create is so much fun, and you both just who you are as beings is half of what makes it great. I mean, obviously you have musical talent, but it's who you are as beings that really is what's super special. So it's just great to see you.
Thanks, Scott. That means a lot, and we're in great company. So, right back at you, my friend.
You are, and our Facebook people watching on Facebook are kind of going nuts over you guys. So that's pretty cool.
Yay.
What's up, Facebook? Woo!
So a reminder one more.
Reminder of what?
You can find them at Mystical Joyride. That's the website.
Yeah, also on Facebook as Mystical Joyride, or really everywhere on the internet. That was the one handle that was available in all the places.
That's right. You're on Instagram. We were communicating on Instagram today.
Yes.
So
we're a lot on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on most places.
Beautiful.
We try to be everywhere. We're omnipresent.
You are. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys in June.
That's right.
Sounds good. Yeah.
SoulPlay.
Bring the dog. I'm sure you're bringing the dog, of course, right?
What's the dog's name again?
She goes with me everywhere. Her name is Jasmine Bear. Oh, Jasmine Bear, they're talking about you.
Jasmine Bear.
Here she is.
Oh, gotta go to the world to get the full view.
Here, I'll add myself here.
There you are. Jazzy B.
Jazzy B.
Oh.
Yeah, I woke her up, but you'll be with me for sure.
All right.
We go everywhere. All right, you two. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Scott.
you.
You too.
Likewise.
Appreciate
Bless
y'all.
you.
Yeah, wow. So, it is definitely that time of year. I guess as Global Peace Tribe announcements, just want to let you know that we've got some really wonderful live events coming up. Next week, we're going to be previewing the New Living Expo, which I know some of you go to. That's in San Rafael. I'm heading down to Santa Barbara, where I'm attending the Evolutionary Leaders Retreat, and we're going to be doing a show from the retreat in Santa Barbara. And then it's the Illuminate Film Festival, which of course we previewed on the show last week. So it's definitely that time of year, festival season. There's not going to be a Bhakti Fest this year. We usually, of course, always do something with Bhakti Fest, but they're taking this year off. But that's kind of what's happening in the next 6 weeks. And I know that for many of you who can't make it to the festivals, that's why we like to present it here. But boy, for those of you that can join us, please do come to SoulPlay. And also plan on coming to New Living Expo, and you'll be learning all about New Living Expo a week from Saturday night when we're going to be doing that show. And we've got great people. John Gray, Daniel Brinkley will be joining us, so that's going to be a fun show. Tonight's show is going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but last Wednesday, we went long, so it kind of balances out. This Saturday night, we're going to be kind of celebrating the upcoming events. We're going to be celebrating Passover, we're going to be celebrating Easter, and we're going to be celebrating Earth Day. So that's what we've got going on Saturday night. And frankly, I don't have the poster made yet because I've just been really, really busy. But that's what's going to be happening this Saturday night. And yeah, Karen asks, definitely if you can, see them in person, because they're great online, but like Holly was saying, when you hear live with real speakers, it is definitely a different experience. We get a nice taste online, but it's great to be live. Really great to be live. Well, thank you, George. I appreciate that. Well, we are going to conclude with the Alpha and Omega Man. We always begin and end with our beloved House Musical Artist Omashar. So get ready to move and groove. I want to see you guys moving and grooving, and then I get to do my spotlighting fun. And here's Omashar.
That's right. And holy smoke, I love Mystical Joyride so much. And I think they should do a gig with, I forget who there's someone they mentioned, like Galactica, something or other. Them and Jamishka should all get together, and that would rock it.
That would be fun. Do you guys, Mystical Joyride, do you guys know Jamishka?
I think they've left they're here, great.
Yeah, we know them.
Yeah. They've been on the show a lot, and when I was living in Ashland, I spent a lot of time with them. So you guys have a similar vibe to those two.
Yeah, they're the homies. We met them at another festival that they were also playing. So yeah. Shout out to Jamaica and the Galactivators.
And you guys are so inspiring. I feel so inspired to hear where you're coming from. Holy smoke. I mean, literally, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Omashar.
Yeah, brother and sister. So here's a little song called Another Dawn, and put on a suitable backdrop, which is this one. And I think everything is good. Yes. Another dawn, another day. Innocent child coming your way. I've been wondering about my life. Oh yeah, wondering about my state of mind. But then I heard, who is it for? If not for yourself, how do you feel? And why do you cry, 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 cry? And shooby-doo-wop. The sun is warming up my mind. Ocean breeze blows me away. And yet still, I've been wondering about my life. Oh yeah, wondering who will take my place. But then I heard, who is it for? If not for yourself, how do you feel? And why do you cry, 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 cry? Who is it for? If not for yourself, how do you feel? And why do you cry, 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 cry? Who is it for? If not for yourself, how do you feel? So come on, let's fly. Come on, let's fly.
Big Twinkle. I love that song. I love that song.
Yeah, me too. I tell you, I think, who wrote this stuff? I mean, it just comes through, and you write it, and you record it, and you go, my goodness, that's great. Who wrote it? So the one within all of us wrote it, right?
And show your arms. People were concerned. Somebody thought you had tattoos.
I do. There they are. Look, there's one. They're concerned. They should be. I've grown up and I've finally got tattoos.
Yeah, it's true, because it's funny the way that shirt shows up. It makes you look like you've got these major tattoos on your arms.
I was kind of cool. Thank you very much.
People were wondering. People were
wondering. Good. I have mum on my right shoulder, so.
Someday we'll have to have a tattoo party. Have everybody share where they have their tattoos, and there's always a story around a tattoo too.
I know. I've seen yours.
My one little bitty one.
I'm joking. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Omashar. Love you so much. See you on Saturday. All right. Well, let's all meet up on in person at the New Living Expo in May, at SoulPlay in June, or come on down to Santa Barbara to the Illuminate Film Festival. It is fun, all these things that are happening. But of course, most of us will be meeting up online next Saturday night. Wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful few days. Thank you for being such beautiful souls, and God's blessings. We'll see you on Saturday night, and have a good week. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time for those with cameras on to wave goodbye. Take care, everybody. Good night.